On previous videos, I explained that going to a different park is gonna have you skating a different way, and therefore adapting to that and just adding to your overall skate style, you know, skate palette, if you will. And so right here at La Puente, there's this nice little half a bowl kind of situation going. And so usually when I'm at other parks, I don't really skate like this. And so this is a great opportunity for me to just familiarize myself with, you know, a bit more stalls and you know, some sort of transition. And so I'm going to do very basic tricks, and after every, you know, after every, I would say three tricks or 3 attempts, I'm going to talk about what I'm feeling and what feels different than what I usually skate, and you know, what feels similar as far as like what patterns am I looking to apply when I'm skating this compared to when I'm skating, you know, let's say a bump to ledge or a manual pad, right? So I'm gonna just start with 3 tricks. I'm gonna go 50 stall, drop, 2 fakies, and a fakie Smith. All right, so that fakie Smith felt very sketchy, and I think part of it is because I'm not warmed up, so that movement feels, you know, the speed feels a bit like too much for me right now. This is the first session of the day, and so it's something to keep in mind when you're skating new obstacles, is you don't want to be overly confident, because, you know, warming up is a thing. Warming up is a thing to skateboarding, but then you also want to think about how you're warming up to a new obstacle, right? Or an obstacle that's not so familiar compared to other, you know, obstacles or parks you might have skated, right? So we're gonna do 3 more. I'm gonna start with the fakie Smith, drop in switch. Even this was a game changer, being able to, you know, drop in switch and roll around in a switch stance on bowls, or a mini bowl like this, was super helpful in getting more control. So drop in switch. Alright, 2. We need 3. Alright. That was 3. So you can see my flow isn't that great when it comes down to skating this, but that's the whole point. The whole point is to get uncomfortable, figure out what you need to improve on, and adapt to those, you know, to those kind of movements necessary, so that you can skate the bowl, you know, accordingly. You know, different obstacles demand different approaches, a slightly different style, and so you want to be able to, you know, expand your style in a sense where you're capable of skating different parks. All right, so we're gonna start with what did I start with? I'm gonna do a fakie Smith to fakie and go from there. Okay, definitely feel a little more warmed up. My body is feeling it, and then I'm breathing a little more, you know, exaggerated, or how do you say, harder? But that's fine. That just shows me that tells me I need to reset. You know, make sure I don't get too ahead of myself, because at the end of the day, even though it is a challenge, there should be a mix of challenge, discomfort, and a mix of fun and curiosity. And so right here, I'm gonna begin to get a bit more explorative, try out different tricks that I'm not usually trying, because that way I'm adapting and kind of expanding what I already know in the bowl. And so for those reasons, I want to really ask myself, how warmed up do I feel at the moment? You know, do I still feel stiff on the hips? Do I feel stiff in the ankles? And if that was the case, which is not, look at our little friend. Oh, he missed a slide. That would have been funny to see. If we're feeling still kind of sore or restricted in any part of our body, then we might want to still give time to simple tricks like, you know, 50 stalls. And basically tricks that are allowing us very low risk, but the opportunity for our body to work, you know, as a system instead of just kind of being stiff and doing stalls. Well, like there's nothing wrong with doing stalls, but it shows you that you're still stiff and you're not very comfortable. And so if that's the case, but going, you know, 50 grind is a bit too much, then just try to be a bit more fluid with the stall, right? We want to feel fluidity when we're skating, or at least when we're transitioning from a warm-up phase to, you know, let's say the end of it, where you feel, you know, so much more relaxed, not so tense. And if you're still feeling tense throughout the whole session, then just understand there's always more room to kind of shake off the nerves. You know, maybe do some deep tissue massage, some foam rolling, some light stretching, not too much. That could be very harmful. But just being aware of these things, because that's going to greatly affect your main session. So we're going to do a couple more. I actually really like how it felt, the 50 grinds. Wow, it's so loud, huh? Anyways, I really like how it felt, so I'm gonna have more fun with that. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna go. Let's go over there. Usually when I come to this park, this thing isn't grinded. I mean, isn't waxed, so it's kind of hard to skate it. But right now, I'm really enjoying it. So we're gonna do a little more of that. Let's see if I can do 10 in a row. So 5 in each side. So I got a little tired. I like feeble stalled on the one before I missed. So that kind of gave me a good understanding of, you know, how comfortable I am. You know, if I still need to work towards warming up a bit more, because that kind of gassed me out. I'm like tired right now. And you know, just make sure you're resetting after every attempt. Let me take a deep breath. Super important that when you're skating something new, you don't want to over stimulate yourself or make it so much more difficult than what it already is, because you don't want to, in a sense, burn out in this in skating a new thing, because you might rob yourself of the opportunity to actually get so much better on a new obstacle and in skating in general, because the skills you learn on this are going to translate to even obstacles you already skate very comfortably. You know, it builds you up to be a well-rounded skateboarder. And so just look at this as an opportunity to do that, right? So we're going to do 10 in a row. I'm gonna be a bit more strategic, you know, get a little slower in the first ones, and then maybe the last 5 I'm gonna get a bit more engaged, you know, grind a bit more. I realized that when I did the first time, the first ones were kind of very disengaged. I just 50 stalled. I was a little stiff, but then as I went faster, you know, I got lower and I actually gave a little more grind. So we're going to approach it with stalls, maybe the first 5, and then really go into grinding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. 7. 9. last one was good, huh? So, having said that, warm up, skate different obstacles, and don't shy away from, you know, getting a bit uncomfortable, adapting to that, to those obstacles, making that uncomfortable comfortable, so that it can, you know, improve your overall control in skateboarding. Having said that, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in lessons or coaching, hit me up at profe.carlos on Instagram. Otherwise, I'm going to be posting so much more videos here. Comment down below what are some things you thought of, what are some questions you've had from what I mentioned, and yeah, till next time, guys. Peace out.